A few weeks back, I reviewed Lazarus Planet Alpha #1 from Mark Waid with Jim from Weird Science, and we both thought it was a great comic book. But we did warn people that this might not be what the future of Lazarus Planet is going to be, because there was basically just a bunch of anthology comics with everybody but Mark Waid writing them. And today I've decided to subject Doc, because he's a great guinea pig. How you doing, Doc?
I hate this comic, and I hate you for making me read it, but I'm going to still do it.
Hate yourself for letting me make you read it. You know what I mean? You're good,
I know. I'm a fucking adult. I could have told you, no, I'm not reading this giant pile of shit, but...
You know what's interesting, Doc? I really like that Alpha comic book. I know you won't read it because you hate Mark Waid. Correct. I can't even get you to read a Mark Waid comic book, which is fine because we're doing worst of the week here. The story in there is really cool. It's got a pretty decent narrative to it. All these mysteries are happening. And I haven't seen one short story in any of these anthologies that actually deals with the mysteries. It feels like this is just a gimmick for people to write short stories about characters no one cares about.
If Dark Fate is representative of what the other books are, these are nothing but the 4-page short intro preview pages for an actual comic that's going to get released later. None of these stories seem to have anything to do with the actual Lazarus Planet event. They are just a launching pad for a bunch of books nobody would give a good goddamn about when they launched with an actual #1. Instead, they're going to try to convince you to read preview pages that otherwise they would give away 5 years ago on Newsarama, try to get you to buy a #1 when it comes out. This time, they're actually charging you for those preview pages.
Let's talk about the comics. And this is how bad this comic book is, Doc. The Tim Seeley story is easily the standout of the comic book. It's easily the #1 comic, and I'm not recommending this at all. Whisper of the Moth, featuring Huntress from Tim Seeley on here. Apparently, the Tower of Arkham is still a thing. I thought that died when Mariko Tamaki left Detective Comics, but Huntress is going back because there's Chubby Rain inside of the Tower of Arkham, or Arkham Tower, whatever you want to call it, and she fights a bunch of Z-list Batman villains until the Moth shows up, who's trying to take over the world. And then there's one of the weirdest pizza arts I've ever seen in my life. It looked like an arm with hands on either side of it, ends up stabbing him in the chest.
Once you have Tim Seeley as the best creator that's on any particular book, you know the book that you're about to read is complete trash. The art in this was confusing. I mean, it's not Riley Rossmo level terrible, but it's not that much better either. There was a lot of it that I couldn't decipher what in the hell was going on in the story, but it was probably the least terrible story in this. That wasn't bad. It wasn't good. At the end, you end up with the killer moth that's not a killer, but for whatever reason is named Killer
Chubby
Moth.
Rain is the reason, Doc. There's Chubby Rain.
You see him starting to change while he's dangling from Arkham Tower.
It was just really bad visual storytelling is what it was, Doc, because it made no sense whatsoever.
Exactly. Bad visual storytelling, bad coloring. This art was fucking terrible.
Not a great story, but it is the standout in Lazarus Planet Dark Fate. We've also got Storm Damage Doom Patrol from Dennis Culver. This is basically just a short to introduce you to the new Doom Patrol series that's going to be coming out in a few months. I like the Doom Patrol. I don't like Chief not being the leader and Crazy Jane or whatever her name is the leader now. The story was almost incomprehensible. That somebody had been hit by the rain and became a giant fungus and then started taking people over, and then Negative Man, I don't know, deals with it, negotiates his way out of it. I don't know what happened.
Typical modern comic book where the thing is resolved through the power of friendship and giving the bad guy a hug. That seems to be the entire story. And then you have angry military man that doesn't want to let them go and is totally setting himself up as the antagonist for the Doom Patrol over the next, the 6 or 10 issues this book gets before it gets canceled again.
Why didn't they make Crazy Jane a big deal in the comic books before the show got canceled, where she was a big deal in the show?
That would have made fucking sense. But now that they've canceled the show, they're going to suddenly make her a big deal in the comics. Hey, God forbid you weirdos ever actually have some sort of, product synergy here.
I like Doom Patrol. That's definitely the redeeming quality of this story, but I don't think the story worked whatsoever. It was clearly just a little free comic book day type edition thing to get you ready for it. Of course, they ended up charging you $8 for it. The next story is 8 Seconds of Still Force, featuring the first appearance of Jules Jourdain, aka Circuit Breaker, from A.L. Kaplan. I mentioned I wasn't familiar with A.L. Kaplan's work, and someone was like, this artist is freaking amazing. How could you not know who A.L. Kaplan is? After seeing this art, they are not amazing. That is run-of-the-mill standard indie comic book art that isn't good enough for Marvel or DC comics. The character apparently had some type of mastectomy because I believe they're transgender or whatever, because you could see the scars and stuff. I guess that was supposed to elicit some type of reaction in me. Circuit Breaker is a really stupid character. Apparently now has the Still Force and used it to free a demon from his or her boyfriend. I don't even know what happened. This was really bad. But she is a cowgirl or cowboy, maybe? I don't know.
She's in this town that's only notable thing is that the Flash once saved them from the turtle. So they do reenactments of it every day at noon because why the fuck not, I guess. And then the rain happens and somebody gets a demon in them, and then suddenly she gets the power of the turtle. Then one of the Flashes, which I don't even know which one it was, like they didn't even bother to explain which Flash this was. Once again, reminding me and proving me right that having 73 Flashes is fucking retarded. She just tells this Flash, oh, well, I'm not actually bad. I'm just trying to save my friend here. But now I have the power of the turtle. Now it's going to be a team up between Pink Flash and Circuit Breaker. And I guess that's what's going to be the story in the Pride comic when it comes out.
Are you ready to put your copy of Pride 2023 on your pull list?
No.
I don't think anyone is, because this story sucked.
Yes.
Quite badly. There's nothing, whatever. Yeah. And then what's up?
I was going to say, and the whole double mastectomy thing, it just made me roll my eyes. I didn't care one way or the other.
Who cares at this point?
Yeah.
No, this character is never going to do anything outside of Pride.
Nope.
They're going to try to make her a thing or him a thing, whatever the character's thing is. They're going to try to do something with it, and it'll never happen. There's only one comic book story in here that I thought was illustrated very well, and that was The Envoy, featuring the first appearance of the Spirit World, which I think was announced this week as a new series that's going to be coming up in Dawn of DCU. Alyssa Wong writes this one. The art absolutely steals the show. I don't know the name of the hero in this, the main character. That's the first appearance of somebody, but I'm not really sure who it is. It's clear that this was supposed to be the most important story. We do see Cassandra Cain, Batgirl show up. We also see Constantine coming in here as supporting characters in this story. I've read worse stuff from Melissa Wong, but this isn't very good.
Yeah, it was again a very middle of the road story. If I add the art into it, it actually is a better story than the Tim Seeley one, but not really all that much. I mean, the art was great on this. I loved it. I don't know who the artist is, never seen them before. Definitely worth following where this artist goes next, unless it's with Alyssa Wong. But
it's Haning.
Okay, I'm not even going to attempt to not butcher that name. No, the artist was great. I really enjoyed it. The storytelling was solid. I knew what was going on. Like I could, honestly, this probably would have been a better comic if Alyssa Wong's dialogue wasn't there.
They did make Constantine seem like
a doofus,
like a zoomer instead of like a Gen Xer like he really is.
Yeah, they made him look like an incompetent, halfway between a zoomer and a boomer, instead of just being a nihilistic Gen Xer, the way that John Constantine is. I'm not shocked that that's the way that Alyssa Wong decided to portray John Constantine. Honestly, I wouldn't trust anyone under the age of 45 at this point that's currently working in comics to write John Constantine and not shit on the bed.
That's the only thing that stood out to me. The dialogue was bad for Constantine, but otherwise it was fine.
Yeah, otherwise it was fine. It was an interesting story. I'm curious about the spirit world. Now, again, Alyssa Wong didn't know how to write Cassandra Cain either, because Cassandra Cain doesn't really use prepositions, and she just wrote Cassandra Cain talking like a normal person, except for very short and clipped.
You know what was weird, Doc? There's an ongoing Batgirl series starring Cassandra Cain and she gets like swallowed up within the spirit world or something like that. And I imagine that's what the series is going to be about, the 6-issue miniseries. Is she still going to be in Batgirls, or do you think the continuity is just not all that important anymore?
I don't think that it's going to matter. I think that she's going to be appearing in both places at once. She will be a main character in the Batgirl series, and she's going to be in the spirit world in whatever the spirit world story is.
I've read worse comic books. I'm going to admit that, Doc, but I've never read an event comic book that meant less to the actual event than this one. It had nothing whatsoever to do with anything other than the very loose connection of the Chubby Rain from Lazarus Planet. Like, it has nothing to do with the event.
It rained in 3 of the stories, or there was fallout from the rain in all 4. And that's it. Other than that, no, these are 5-page newsarama previews that you're just paying $8 for.
As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, Jim and I actually reviewed Lazarus Planet Alpha from Mark Waid, and we were very impressed. But we did have a warning for the viewers. Do not think that this is what Lazarus Planet is going to be moving forward. We warned you that this was going to be crap, and it turns out we were 100% correct. But definitely check out the review and some of the words we had at the end. If you don't see the video here, there's also a link in the video description.